lovely friends. It's Margaret, and I just realized why my camera is so dark. I didn't turn my light on.
It always starts somehow like this.
Yeah, always.
No, this is a better start than the last live show that we were on. So,
If you want me to go back there, I can go back there.
I will mute you, Christine. I will kick you out of this live show.
No, you won't.
I have the power. I can make her go away.
You will. Just
Anyways,
you can.
We match, Brianna.
We do.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Mm-hmm. That's why girls unite.
Mine's a football jersey.
Yeah. Mine is what I call my accidental lesbian shirt. Because you can only see girls when I'm filming.
I love that.
I'm like, I hope I'm not leading anyone on.
Oh, Christine will have to
Don't worry, it doesn't look good. Don't worry.
Oh, I know.
Remind me to tell you about the coffee mug that I bought.
It is the best mug. That is the best place on earth, I think. Like, I think that.
Well, when you come to Utah, you'll have to drive through it.
I'm going to go to Beaver, Utah. That's for sure.
Wow. Wow.
I already have an idea of what is on the coffee mug. So,
it just says I Heart Beaver.
But it was when I got two photos from a store that just everything said I love Beaver all around. I was like, wow, she's
how inclusive.
What a gay icon.
In the middle of nowhere, Utah.
Oh my God. Okay. So, shenanigans aside for the moment, we'll pause them. Welcome to the Round 8 live show for Vaultathon. We have 3 of the 4 hosts that will be here tonight. One of us is running a little bit behind. You know, sometimes family obligations come up.
Margaret, there are 4 of us here.
Yeah. I'm 3 of the 4 co-hosts.
Okay. You weren't counting yourself. I was like, wait a minute.
I don't count.
Like, wait, what?
Anyways, Bree will be joining us later, but we are going to kind of get started so that we can talk about things. Everyone did finish the book, yes?
Yes.
Well, I finished it last month.
Same difference.
Yeah.
I have 2 pages of notes.
I love
Oh my God, Michelle, would you like to start running this readathon?
I mean, no, because like they're very scattered thoughts. Because I was watching or do the audiobook and the ebook at the same time.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
That
feels like that would be more than my brain could handle.
Well, and I was on like 175, and Calvin's like, "How do you hear that and process that at the same time?"
Derek always says that. He was like, "Why are you listening to chipmunks?"
My parents say that too when I watch videos and stuff. So let's get into this little fun thing. So I listen to my audiobooks at 1.8 speed. And I only do that now because I started listening. Actually, no, I listen to videos faster because I used to listen at like 1.5 times speed. I think I sped it up for a book and then never went back.
I just got used to that speed. Because
I got used to it, and then
I can't do it any lower than 1.75. Normally, it's 2 to 2.5.
So for me it's like 1.8 because I had to speed it up to like 2 times for the VE Schwab for when I listened to A Darker Shade of Magic because Michael Kramer, whoever the male narrator, he also does the Brandon Sanderson books. He has a beautiful voice. He's a very good narrator, but he talks so slow. And I need it to be up to, and that's why I also speed up YouTube videos. I need it to be up to the speed you would be talking in a conversation.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
because I talk so fast that if I'm listening to an audiobook, I'll lose focus.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I start every audiobook at like 1.2 and then just incrementally increase the speed until I can't handle it anymore.
It's usually 2 to 2.5.
Yeah.
Well, because I was just going to do like 1 speed. I was just like, gonna be regular. I was like, this is too slow for me for what I'm doing, and I was
always
like,
every time.
Well, especially if you're reading it too.
Yeah,
then you can go faster.
Well, yesterday I rearranged my entire shelf. Like,
nice.
We're gonna
Nice. Oh, that
Nice.
show.
So pretty.
Yeah, so now that's what it looks like versus when it was on that wall.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Fun. I like 1.8 because it's fast enough that it's speed of conversation, but it's not so fast that you lose the actor's abilities. Like you still get the full performance, but it's not deadly slow. So if you feel like the audiobook is taking too long, y'all, try speeding it up. It might just be the speed at which the narrator is talking and not the book.
I never get past 2.
I have never gone past 2 either because 2 is pushing it for me at this point.
Generally, it's 2. I think on Audible, I get up to like 2.2 speed, and then if I just want to get through the book, like I'm just like I don't care at this point, then it's 2.5. Like sometimes even closer to 3.
Where are you keeping all these songs?
But it has to be an American actor. I can't do British accents with like that fast.
I would rather listen to a British accent that fast than like a what's the right way to say this without being like insulting?
A Midwestern.
Go ahead, you can insult us. We have ridiculous accents here.
Like Malk and Rack and
a Boston accent?
Like yes, but it covers more because like I know someone from Wisconsin that said like rack instead of rock. Like just stuff like
what?
That. Yeah, listen, I don't know. You guys have an accent per town down there, but
you know what? This is the same people. This is the same people that like say "warsh" and "ruined" and
yeah. And I can handle. Give me your
That's a very southern
British accent. I can handle that over just like vowels don't mean anything anymore.
I try not to get down on people for how they pronounce words because that is a slight pet peeve when people mispronounce things. But I'm like, you know what? That's just you, Margaret. Just let them pronounce stuff.
And I think,
but Warsh is a little far for me.
Or
there was
like,
and
I grew up with Warsh because my grandma would say that. She's in Alabama.
Which is exactly where you would say that from.
Yeah. I read a book recently. She lived in California for probably 30 or 40 years, and that was like the one word that never left her southern vocabulary.
I read a book recently that had a character with a New Jersey accent, and it wasn't like. So there's a dual POV. So the guy with the Midwestern accent reading the New Jersey accent sounded fine, but the actual New Jersey person, they got to like do. Oh, because he sounded like he was playing like a 23-year-old, and he just sounded like the oldest mom from Staten Island the whole time. Like, it was, I was like, you're trying to tell me this is a young man, but I know it's a very, very old gay man like that. Like I know that it is. And I'm like, what's going on? Like it was I couldn't.
Yeah,
I just couldn't.
Interesting things about accents is you can't like a lot of them have a lot of subtleties and like for them to be recognizable to the rest of the world you have to play it up.
Well, and some people say bag like bag and I'm like
I've heard that one.
How do you
bag,
get there?
Right?
Like,
it's the same with milk. There's an I there.
Milk?
There's an I in milk.
I've heard milk.
I've heard milk. Milk is actually pretty common. That's very common in Utah.
Milk.
I was raised in the most northern southern states, so this is what, which is funny because all of my relatives are hillbillies.
The most northern southern state. Aren't you in Florida?
I'm in Florida, but the part of Florida that I live in. Okay, so the thing about
okay. I thought you were talking about. I was like. I know the Mason-Dixie line isn't in Florida. But
with the exception of Miami, which is Little Cuba, the further south you go in Florida geographically, the further north you go in culture.
Well, that makes sense because that's where all the rich northerners go to die.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, so that's why. Or just to spend their winters. Yeah. So, anyways, so let's get to like what this live show is about. We'll talk a little bit. Today we are talking about Robin Hood and spoiler alert by Olivia Dade. And I would love to have my co-hosts who are here, we'll pause again for Bree, but who are here introduce themselves and their channel starting this way. And we'll go that way.
Hi, I'm Christine.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here before.
Hi, Christine.
Only a couple of times. This isn't normal. Usually Christine's way too busy for me.
Hi, I'm Christine,
Christine's
and I'm a
too
word
busy for me.
nerdaholic. That's all I have to say about myself. You can find my link in the description. I lost like 3 subscribers this week, and I don't know why. So if you guys want to like,
I lost
It's
some
probably
too.
because you posted gay things. Because
I was
that's
gonna
what
say.
happened to me all of Pride Month.
really?
Mhm. Every time I posted something queer, I would lose like 5 to 10 subscribers, and I was like, "Cool, I didn't want you anyway."
Yeah, literally. Why would you ever subscribe to me?
I was like, "Have you met me?"
I'm so blatantly
Yeah,
rude.
You're very gay.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so over here saying, I'll be like on my channel, I'll be like, monogamy, you dumb fucks. What are you, like, what am I here for? Wow, that makes sense. Yeah, because it was like, I posted that video and I was like, hey, it wasn't a bad video. Like,
But
God.
was it queer?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So you
You
guys,
too- you
if you're
too hate
gay,
the gays.
please support me because I've just, I've lost out. I took one for the team and did a negative review of a queer book.
It
Oh,
happens.
Yeah.
Have I seen
sometimes you gotta do those though. I mean,
It's my boozy book talk about She Drives Me Crazy,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did see
which is just it's 2 teenage girls.
that. I did not like that book.
Oh yeah, you read it. Yeah, of course you read it. It's a sports romance, and it's just the white girl being awful to the brown girl the entire book, and then the brown girl being like, "But you're amazing." And
I could have told you that.
this was written by a white author. It just came up on Scribd, and I was like, okay, gay. And then it was like,
Yeah, no, I got it as an arc.
no.
I got it as an arc because someone like a couple of people were like really hyping it up, and I was like, okay. And it was no.
the main character's awful.
Yeah, I don't even think I actually finished the book because it like she just gave me the worst vibes, and I was like, I'm done.
Like I don't really believe in like leagues in general, like, but she was so out of her league.
It was
she
It was
deserved
like
better
an
than this.
angsty basketball gremlin and a cheerleader goddess. So
But
Okay.
anyways,
All right. I'm surprised you didn't mention any of the dogs, but okay, we'll move on to Michelle.
well, do you want to see a fucking dog?
I would love to see a fucking dog.
Here's the sock. Cassie, come get the sock. There she is.
don't let her eat those.
She
There's a
doesn't.
subtle candy
Oh, she
on
wouldn't
it.
eat them because she likes to bring them back. If she'll put it on my one leg and she'll just wait and go. And then if I don't do it quick enough, she'll bring it to the other leg and be like, you may not have noticed. On this side of your body, you will notice.
I love her.
She's intense.
I love her.
And then Briar's behind the chair back there.
Aw.
Briar is like,
I
I'm taking
I can't
him
wait
out.
for Briar and Doyle to meet.
I think they're really gonna vibe.
They're gonna meet in May-ish. Because I'm specifically telling our whoever we use as an event that there will be 2 service dogs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice. All right, Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself and your channel and the things you talk about?
Yes. Hihani Washte. My name is Michelle from Throw Once Another Letter. I talk about Indigenous literature, bullet journaling, queer literature, and like whatever I want to.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I'm Brianna.
Hi, I'm Brianna. I'm new here.
It's her first time.
This is my first time.
Never
Like-
done Balsathon before.
Never. I just met Margaret yesterday.
In New York.
In New York.
I had a dream about BookCon last night. It was very odd.
As we've already established, I talk about all things gay.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really matter what genre as long as it's gay.
And you're also like, you read a lot of contemporaries, right?
Well, theoretically.
Theoretically,
But like, it's not the overwhelming majority of books this year.
I feel like I get all of my contemporary recommendations from you.
Well,
Same.
I think it's just because I do a lot of recommendations. Like, whenever I do recommendations, they're always contemporary because, like, historically, I've read mostly contemporary. But I think as I kind of moved more into fantasy, but like, here's the thing: contemporary, like, there's a wider range of, like, for me, books that are good. Fantasy for me, and sci-fi specifically, is like it's either an amazing book and I can't stop talking about it, or it's shit.
Yeah.
Because like
Margaret.
I think the majority of the books like that would be in my top favorite books this year are not going to be contemporary.
You know what Margaret needs to read? You know what Margaret needs to read? The Darkness Between Us.
The darkness outside us.
Outside Us. Yeah.
Yeah, you 100%.
Oh,
What's that about?
Okay. All right. Picture it.
I think when I filmed my wrap up, I think I called them gay cinnamon rolls in space.
Yes, but it's more than that. So so picture it.
We
Picture
will
it.
go on this tangent because we're still missing a host. Keep it short though.
Boom. You wake. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh yeah, I've seen that
Can
cover.
I still reenact it for the?
but you cannot
the
tell
audience?
them the plot twist.
I won't.
Okay, because like no
I
one
won't.
sees it
I
coming.
shan't. I won't because I want them to almost shit their pants like I did.
I got this from
I need the
like
text messages.
Penguin, I think.
Good. Now
No.
sit down and watch my performance.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
I think Christine should be full screen at this point.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Picture it. You wake up. You're in space. You know why you're in space? To rescue your sister from a lost space mission because space stuff went wrong. But you don't remember the launch, and you're like, what the fuck? And then the AI tells you that there's another guy on board that you didn't expect to be there. Ooh.
And you
He's from
hate
a-
him. And you hate him.
And you hate him because he's from your enemy country. Your two enemy countries
You.
paired up for this space mission, and you two are the only ones on board, except
Awkward.
the AI. Except the AI.
And the robot.
Oh, and the robot that's controlled by the AI. And the AI has your mother's voice.
What?
I know.
Sometimes.
And as the days go by, the AI starts to get a little fishy.
Little sus.
As AIs are wont to do. I feel like every AI story, if there is an AI, there's at least going to be an episode where the AI goes a little bit wonky.
Listen, the AI is an
Oh,
That sounds
it's
terrifying.
A little bit wonky, like it is the beginning of that.
I'm not allowed to tell you the plot twists, but
Yeah,
No.
don't tell me anything. Let me go in blind,
Like that is all you
like
need to know.
completely nondescript, because then I will have so much more fun that way.
okay.
And it's
I'll give you
adorable
a
and
5-word synopsis then. Hot, sexy, attractive.
For a YA.
Yes. You will scream several times throughout the book. That's good. You're just gonna.
Yeah.
My dad watched me read it because watching me read it was entertaining.
That's me with everything.
I
That
was
sounds
I was
really
like,
accurate,
I was on the
actually.
edge of my seat at his cottage, like. He's like, you can put it down. I'm like, no, I can't.
Okay, here's the thing. She wasn't actually going to read it much that weekend because I wasn't reading it until like the next week. And then she was like, so I finished it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm 20% of the way in.
It's like so bingeable. It's like Ace of Spades and
Oh,
Iron Widow, where I just was like the whole time. And just like you're gonna hit a point, and there's gonna be a point in the book where you're gonna be like, what the fuck happened? Like I have no actually you're gonna be so confused and like
My favorite are the ones that you're sitting there confused, like at the halfway point, and they're like, I know this is all going to make sense at the end, though. Okay.
Nope, you do not get to that point.
Aha!
Christine,
Well,
are
I
you just
have
like,
the
in this
idea.
creepy stuff? Yeah.
Hello!
I survive.
I love that Bree is the one that shows up wearing the Florida shirt.
Well, it's because I wore. It's actually a dress
Okay.
that I wore to the shower
Does that have pockets?
that I just posted.
how'd it go?
It was great. It went quite swimmingly. We had a lot of fun. It was relaxed, and I actually delegated tasks. I allowed people to help me, and people like helped me because I let them. It was
So
crazy.
proud of you.
Crazy.
Isn't it nicer when
so
you're
bad about
having
that.
adults instead of toddlers? You can do work.
Yeah.
I mean, having toddlers help you do things is a fantastic way to keep them out of your way.
It's true, and it helps them to feel like so accomplished.
Although
Like,
my
you're not good at anything.
Yeah.
Well, then sometimes toddlers try really hard and they want to really impress you when they do things.
Right. They really seek your approval.
and
And when
and
you know you're disappointed, that's when
Yeah.
they get so sad. It's because they know when they know you're disappointed. Like not when you're mad, when you're disappointed, that's when they get upset.
That's when it hurts the most.
Yeah.
And then there's my nephew, who at the age of 3, we had an emergency situation where I went to babysit him. It's a 5-year-old, 3, and like 1 or 2 or 1. And I was like, do you want to help me pick the room up a little bit before mommy gets home? No. His older brother more than made up for him. But
Yeah.
anyways.
If this is a choice, probably not.
There was somebody that I follow on Twitter, and I actually like retweeted her tweet, and I think it was maybe Alex E. Harrow, and she was like, "So I asked my son what we were gonna do today, and he said, I think today we're not gonna cooperate."
I saw that.
Yeah, that was a
3-year-old.
Mood right there.
That's so
That is
funny.
such a mood.
I feel that way some days.
I was like, this kid's going places.
Okay, real quick before we get into the meat of it, though, get us back on track. Bree, do you want to introduce yourself and your channel and all of that good stuff?
Okay. Hi, my name is Bree. You can find you can search that right there, or she probably has a link.
The link is
because
down.
yeah. Okay. Well, it's fine. But yeah, I do the Avengers things, so you probably have seen me around. I've been in Vaultathon a couple times, and yeah, I like books, and I cannot lie.
Nice. Okay. So
what do y'all rate this anyway?
are we talking about the book or the movie? Because we're not
The
getting to the
book.
book just yet.
Oh,
Let's start with the
movie
movie.
first.
Let's start with the movie first, because that I feel like is the one that is the least spoilery.
Okay,
I
there are
mean,
absolutely no
if you
fucking
haven't seen it yet,
spoilers.
There's
That's on-
no spoilers to Robin.
It's been out as long as my grandparents, I think.
I
Like,
mean, yeah,
been
there
out
are
since
no
1979.
spoilers. So
it's also based on something that happened in the 1100s. Like, we're good.
So, Robin Hood, what is y'all's experience with this movie?
1400s. My bad.
Same thing.
Yeah, 1100s would have been slightly different.
Well,
No.
11
Also when he lived.
when they found, but it's fine.
Okay.
So my
What are-
experience with this movie is that I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
I
Mhm.
haven't either.
My grandpa worked for a company called Robin Hood his entire Canadian career. So Robin Hood imagery in our family is like everybody
thing.
loves Robin Hood. Robin Hood flower, you probably know it. And then I saw it again and I thought it was funny.
Okay.
And boy, did they make those foxes sexual somehow. I was like, oh.
Yeah, seriously. How do they make Robin Hood look sexy? I don't want.
Well, and her too. I was like,
Why
oh,
is
I'm gonna do a close up
Why
on
is
those
this the
lashes.
Second conversation. This exact conversation happened to me an hour ago.
It's the movie. It's like a different kind of
With
animation.
Derek's mother.
Hey.
That's awkward.
Wait, what?
I mean, if we are rating animals on their sexiness, I feel like foxes are one of the easiest ones to make sexy.
This is a dangerous
This
conversation.
is a weird conversation. I
I
feel
wouldn't necessarily
uncomfortable.
say that. 'Cause you can still like. You can.
Why do
still,
you think so many
certain
furries are foxes? They're one like if you're going to anthropomorphize them, there's not much you have to do to make them attractive.
It's true, but I'm very uncomfortable now.
Well, this is not the scariest thing. Have you ever seen Kovu?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The Kovu fandom. Oh my goodness.
Don't
I
look
mean,
it up.
No.
Don't look it up.
Just have stuff everywhere. Don't mind me.
Yeah. Are you okay, Christine?
It's fine.
Christine looked it up.
Oh no.
English.
Wilder's getting it. She's good.
Is that a black?
Oh my
That's a
God,
lab,
that's
right?
Cute puppy.
That is so cute.
Aww.
She's gonna raise it for a service dog company.
Aww. That's cute.
To meet her. Her name is Story.
No.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
I love it.
Nice.
Are you okay, Christine?
No, she is not. There is a new puppy,
I love retrievers so much.
and it's a Labrador Retriever. All right. Anybody else? Your experience with this a movie?
I really don't remember. Like, I mean, I remember watching it as a kid, but like,
Same.
I think it's just funny that they use this basically the same voice actors throughout like a period of those animated, and so like I kept hearing the Aristocats because that was my like
Yeah.
childhood
But they're like
movie.
the classic voices.
Yeah.
That's what I
Mhm.
personally really love about it. Personally, my favorite scene, I had only 2 notes out of this whole thing. So, the the scene, the once we watched the Lazy World Go By song / like Maid Marian and Robin like getting to like walk through Sherwood Forest at night is just amazing in both art and animation. The party scene is bomb. And also, I love how Maid Marian did not have a curfew at all. Nobody was like, "Where's Maid Marian?"
I think I was quite amused by the parallels to Prince John and you know a certain other orange person.
See, I wasn't thinking the orange person. I was thinking Orange Person Junior. Honestly.
That too. I just like during the whole like phony Kingdom England and like
Mhm.
how
Are you
he's the
talking about
worst.
the Cheeto Puff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Cheeto in charge.
No longer. No
No
longer.
longer.
Thank God.
I cannot.
unless you know
We
you
can
talk to certain people.
All right.
Well, they're living in a different country, I think. than yours.
They
Different
probably
plane of
have to be
existence.
living in a different country right now. Anyway, speaking of other countries, Robin Hood happens in England. I remember watching this as a kid. Like, I know we watched it. There's a lot I didn't like. I remember some of the plot and like specific moments, but like I didn't remember there were songs. I didn't remember like a lot of the other details, which is funny considering the fact that like I've also watched Sleeping Beauty, which has a lot of similar like framing things. So what about you, Bree?
I hadn't watched it since I was younger. It's been like a long time since I've rewatched it. And so for me, it was very like a nostalgic feeling experience watching it. Some of the things that I really enjoy about this movie are the little bunny with the purple outfit on, the youngest one.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, she is me. Just instead of a stuffed animal, it is a book. Like me as a child. There you go.
No.
But no, let's see. There are just like little things that we quote a lot from Disney movies, but like a lot of the things from this movie is like, I have a dirty thumb. And like that made no sense in the context. Like why? Oh my god. Why did they even put that in there? I don't know.
His voice acting was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like that guy as a voice actor was very, very good. Because that stuff is really difficult. Like it seems easy since no one is watching you, but like doing that consistently take after take after take is like very taxing.
Yeah, for sure. But like that and like some of the stuff with his
Pause. We have a puppy.
Dying inside.
I get to know her.
love.
Okay, play.
But like some of the stuff with Hiss and like just like some of the quotable moments were very nostalgic. But like I don't know, it's just such an interesting choice, like topic choice, you know, for a kids movie. I just think
That's true. Yeah.
You know, like I think sometimes they choose very interesting conversations to open the door to.
I think it's supposed to just be kind of a fun movie based on Robin Hood, but the thing is,
exactly.
you can get past the fact that the reason Robin Hood was because Prince John was absolutely terrible as a ruler and like literally was taxing people to death. Like that's why we have the Magna Carta. So
then we come back to my question.
Okay.
Is this movie pro resource sharing or anti-tax?
I think those are one of the same.
No.
They are not.
No.
Well, I think that let me rephrase that. I don't think they're one and the same, but I definitely think they go hand in hand.
In this movie, I think they do.
I think they have the ability to.
I think they do, but like, was the movie specifically commenting over taxation and big government, or is the movie critiquing wealth hoarding?
I would say wealth hoarding.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes it was, and then sometimes I think that with the sheriff particularly, it was criticizing big government, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
I also found it interesting who was American and who was British, like who had a why
there's
was
a
the
story
sheriff
behind that.
Okay, yeah.
So when they did this movie, it was supposed to be like it was right after Song of the South. And they were trying to ride the coattails of that success, and then threw up. I'm not entirely sure because I've heard the secondhand from my brother, but like through a series of things, like they decided not to do that. Like they actually embraced like the more Robin Hood-esque part, but that still left you with a lot of Southern voice actors because they would have done the voices and then done the animation, and all those changes were done after the voices had been done.
That makes sense.
So.
That's why probably a lot of the music has a Southern
there was
inspiration
jazz.
to it.
There was jazz in one scene, and I was like, okay.
Lots of anachronisms, which I mean I loved, like the bloomers and stuff like that. Anyways, so any thoughts about the movie?
I think that one of my favorite parts of this movie is when even Hiss sings the song making fun of John. Yeah. That is one of my favorite moments in the whole thing, is like literally no one is on your side. How do you sit there and still think, oh yeah, cool, this is fine. Everybody hates me, but it's fine. Like, how do you not question your life choices, you know? That's one of my favorite parts, because it's just like, you know, that's not far off from what the reality is for some people, you know. In reality, when there's a person who's like in charge of something or whatever is not doing it right, you know, even the people closest to them, you know, are gonna, you know, side with or, you know, have those conversations, you know, agree with, you know, discuss whatever, however you want to word that.
They'll admit that they're incompetent.
Exactly.
Not to their face.
Exactly. And I just enjoy that little moment. It's a good moment.
Poor Hiss.
I know.
Right?
And I was like,
this is like trash the whole time.
I honestly wondered if, like, because I know the history of homophobia in Disney villains. This struck me very hard as one of those movies where they take every opportunity to queer code the villain and put in some weird Freudian sex shit. And I was like,
yeah, I
that's
see
not like
that.
if we're thinking of a leader that was like ruthless enough to like kick his brother off the phone and stage a coup, I don't think he'd be like a thumb-sucking softy, right? Like, so I was like, this is weird. Like, you tell us one story about him, but then like,
yeah,
you really want to make this you want to like emasculate this villain. So it's interesting.
Maybe it's just the fact that he lacks he lacks like integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From like a lot of that, like I feel does line up with what I know about John. Like the little that I know, like he still was like you said, but like I totally get your point. I'm just like some of it was like he was pretty incompetent and pretty self-absorbed from what I remember.
I mean, but that's not the criticism. Like that's not the joke, right?
Right. That's not what they were trying to like.
That's not
portray
the.
it as.
It was the 1100s. I was right.
I was gonna say because like, well, I would have said more like 1200s, but they have the wimple, and those are only in that particular wimple was only in effect for a short. But I didn't. My costume book is over there. I wasn't gonna go look at it.
Well, and we do know that Disney history. It always has accurate costuming.
Absolutely, by Little John's Bloomers, which is a fantastic gag.
Okay, this guy had like 72 kids. Listen. Oh. John.
Wow.
Really?
Okay, not actually, but there's like
around, I guess.
Here's a bastard right here. Was the illegitimate son of King John of England and was a feudal baron of Chilham in Kent. His mother was Adela, his father's first cousin.
Oh
No, Richard Fitzroy.
Oof.
Oh man, don't get me started on the Egyptians.
So I'm just saying it might have been more accurate to portray him as like a lustful, hedonistic imbecile than.
I don't think we could have done the lustful part with Disney, but like maybe we could have leaned into the hedonistic.
The rhinos were lusting over Little John. The rhinos were like.
There's ways that Disney has done that with villains.
Yeah, we literally had Gaston, who was like a man.
And Jafar was pretty into Jasmine, wanted to fuck.
And let's not even reflect back to Last Vault of the
Oh no!
It clicked for Christine.
I have to put it out of my brain.
You have to understand.
Wait, which one was last time?
For Hunchback.
Oh God!
Oh.
Hunchback.
Yes.
I want to hide.
So if you really want to talk about lustful issues in Disney,
They've been there, done that.
That scene is probably the sole reason that I was not allowed to go see that movie. I'm going to be honest.
yeah.
Hi, Cassie.
He's Brody.
Oh, I can see a nose.
She keeps moving.
Hi, Briar.
Yeah. You gonna meet Doyle? Yeah.
With Miles. Aw.
Her and Doyle are gonna be best friends.
One thing I did want to bring up, which I thought was really interesting, is how they told the story, like especially using some of the songs, because a lot of this movie, it wasn't there was the overarching plot, but it was a lot of like small vignettes and scenes. It was almost like watching a play.
It's folksy. It's all about like
I
folk.
think that was very historically accurate, and if you think about like the minstrels, and that was like it really played into the minstrel part of it, and those songs that were like in reality were
except for when they started using jazz.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just in the way that the minstrel songs are structured, where they're very much this is a thing that happened. And then this is a thing that happened. And so they may string different songs together to make a performance, but they're not necessarily like continuous.
Especially because we're dealing at a point in time where like if you're not nobility or the clergy, you can't read.
Right.
So the only way to tell these stories would be through performance.
Right.
And also that's how a lot of theater at that time period was, because it was morality plays. So like that even less disjointed than some stage plays can be now. Like you would have a vignette, a story, and then you would have, and usually it's different characters, but like you have it. So, and you had like the traveling troops and stuff like that. So,
my class, traveling bard. My race, rooster.
What?
That's my Dungeons and Dragons character.
I was like, was that a sentence?
That was not
Yes.
there were no verbs in
I
that
got
sentence.
it. I got it, Christine.
Thank you. Thank you. Alex would have got it if he was listening. Right, Alex? Say yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. I got Alex so baked last night.
I saw that.
It was so funny because he's like, not really feeling anything. And then he went to bed for a bit and I was like, oh, he's asleep. All right. And then when I came to bed, he like put his phone in and I was like, yeah, it did.
Okay, so we've chatted about the movie. Do we have any final thoughts that we want to add? I didn't have a lot of them, honestly.
love
It was
the
not as bad
colors.
as the last one.
A
What?
pox on the phony king of England.
I
That
really
is
love
so British.
the art.
Like, so British. Go ahead, Christine.
Just I thought the art style was really beautiful and one of my favorite, probably my
Yeah.
favorite movie. Like I'm trying to think of other movies that are like as pretty as that. Like Bambi would be up there.
It reminded me a lot, though, how comical the animation was back then, and the
Yeah.
fact, like, when they run into the wall and they just like splat. It's like very
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, Looney Tunes.
Or when all of those hippos crashed into the castle wall and then just lifted it up. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Or when like they pick up the prison door with their horn.
Yeah. I think you have like that movie had a lot of, I think you have hints of it in a lot of like Disney movies still, but not nearly as often as it was in that
I
one.
mean, it was mainstream back then, like it was just accepted, but I don't think they're as much now. I think it's a little bit more realistic, especially as we've gone into this like 3D animation. But it just kind of reminded me of like, oh yeah, this is a thing that we used to watch.
Slapstick comedy is kind of out of style right now, I think. Like slapstick humor isn't, I don't think, where it used to be, but yeah, back then that's kind of like the height of slapstick. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's cool. Yes. Speaking of the song, that is, no one makes more fun of the British monarchy than the people who in fact actually live there.
Oh yeah.
Like just historically,
This was the first movie done without Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So they're like, we are going to take your homophobia and we are going to honor it.
Yeah.
We are not going to let this one slide. Not without you, Walt. We will carry on your good mission.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
All right.
I was doing some research on it last night, and this was Aristocats was the last one that Walt did, or that he had his hands in, and this was the first one that started after he passed.
Interesting.
Nice. Also, this movie really said ACAB.
It did. I don't think it would be these days. Like,
I mean, they literally made them all rhinoceroses and a wolf. Also, the Sheriff of Nottingham was supposed to be a goat, but they thought that the wolf was more villainous.
Well, it not only was he a wolf, but he was like the most slovenly, out of shape wolf ever. Like he wasn't even a cool wolf. He was like, he walked around like a bear. I thought he was a bear.
He was supposed to be a goat, which actually like really kind of made me laugh. And it was like that. I feel like that would have had a really religious undertone, because
I was gonna say, I feel like
goats are like known as like the evil in
right. Cops are Satan. You heard it here first.
Walt Disney said so.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, he died, and after Walt Disney left, went to hell, if you will.
Well, I mean, there are all
he went to hell and came back and said,
conspiracies about Walt Disney.
This is not a conspiracy YouTube channel, though, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
You could even tell, like, and again, this is another thing that Disney, like, when you just watch the coloring of certain characters, like what color for certain characters got, it's all very, like, purposeful. So the fact that, like, the rhinos and the hippos are all dark.
Robin himself is really dark.
Yeah, but still not brown or gray, like still red.
Well, in some scenes he is brownish.
Brown, yeah. She was lighter, yeah. But it's just really interesting. Like,
it gave me an idea. I'll talk about it later.
Okay, thanks for telling me. I don't want Margaret to hear us talking.
Okay.
We were trying not to tell the audience.
Good talk.
Okay.
Margaret can hear us, I think. Shit. What? I think Margaret can hear us.
I think Margaret wants to talk about the book now. I've been trying to transition over here for like 5-10 minutes.
Margaret is desperately trying to keep us on track.
I am because
You shouldn't have invited me.
anyways, you can stay on track. We got it during Nano. So
that's because we had a goal.
We're gonna talk about spoiler alert. One thing that I did want to mention, because this book does talk about fat phobia and weight loss and dieting, just be warned that those are going to be things that may come up in the course of this conversation. If that is something that you are not in the place to, talk about right now, feel free, tap out. I will not hold it against you. I totally understand. Yes.
We are all vetted for body positivity, though.
And mental
health. A very body positive group.
Very.
So, anyways, like I know too many people with eating disorders to not like acknowledge that at least and give you a fair warning. So, spoiler alert by Olivia Dade.
10 stars.
Thoughts. What were our ratings?
Mitchell also rated it 5 stars.
My favorite part is I gave it 5 stars, despite the fact that there are some writing things that I would change. But like, this is a 5-star story. Like 5-star characters, 5-star story. This is why I do not have an algorithm or whatever for my rating, because like certain things outrank other things, and this would be like 4.75 stars if I was doing numbers.
This wasn't her debut, but it was her debut traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of her stuff has all been published indie.
I mean, you can kind of tell to some extent. Yeah. Like, there's
but
definitely
like for a debut.
Yeah, there's more of a fan fiction feel to this. But
I think in this instance, that
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes it better.
Right.
But it also really reminded me of Talia Hibbert in the sense where you could tell the author had like not seen a lot of women like her in romance novels.
Yeah,
and let's write a place for plus size women who are open and talking about that.
And all of her books are like that. The rest of her books all have plus size heroines.
Yeah.
Mitch gave it 5 stars.
We approve.
And best book of the month, and then Anne Marie really enjoyed it. Nice.
All the Canadians I'm bringing to your streams.
I know there was. I look at that
analytics like, and there's like a bump in Canada.
% of Canadians that watch my channel, I'm like, that's Christine and her people.
Those Ontarians are doing God's work up there. Oh.
So, anyways, I'm gonna put this down now. But so I know. Some of us, this was a reread for, I think most of us, though, this was our first time reading it, technically.
First time for me.
Those of us that did not read it last month.
First time for me.
I just read it once last month.
Yeah.
And I was going to read it again, but as you guys can tell, I can't seem to fucking finish a book this month.
That's okay. I still have to work on this.
That would take a while.
That's understandable.
See, Michelle, when you said you were in a slump and then that you needed to finish Lord of the Rings, those two do not make sense.
I think
that is how you get in a reading slump, not
But they really hyped it up. They made it sound really good. So I'm like, oh, I'll get there.
I think what happened for me is I read The Darkness Outside of Us, then Iron Widow, then The Library of the Unwritten, and then anything I tried to read after that, I was like, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Have you
Maybe you had a book hangover?
I have not, no, because every time I start reading it, I'm like it's the same with Rage of Dragons, because I've read them before. I open it and I'm like, yeah, I know I like this. And I don't know. I can't do it. I'm in a bad reading.
Probably move on
Just
then.
read another Talia Hibbert.
Read something else.
I did read that. Oh, and that's the other one I read. And then I read Ruth.
Oh yeah, but you didn't like that one that much.
Ruth,
No, I did.
Oh, I thought
Ruth,
you.
I gave it 5 stars.
Oh, for some reason
Christine
I was
Gaskell,
thinking
Ruth?
about it at 3 o'clock.
It's
Or
called A
something.
Girl Like Her. No, I think I gave it 5.
Okay.
I think so. Didn't I?
Christine, you
No,
should go read
library
some more
wasn't written as a
cyborg
book, like 3.5.
fiction.
I should read cyborg fiction.
That will
Okay,
make
no.
you feel better.
Iron Widow, guys. You're gonna read this and you're gonna be like, "Is this what Christine dreams of when she goes to sleep?" And the answer is gonna be yes.
I
I
cannot.
am debating on whether or not I should take that on my plane tomorrow or Last Night at the Telegraph Club because I also really just want to read that one.
I'm gonna say Iron Widow because it's.
I got the
sexy.
arc for Iron Widow, so
I have the
I gotta
arc
work on it at
too.
some point.
I
Do
should
it.
do that because it comes
It's
out
so
on
good.
Tuesday.
It's so hot. And then, oh my god, like the poly romance is so cute too.
Oh, it's Polly?
Yes,
Yes.
it's Polly, and there's giant robots.
how did I
fighting
know
each
that
other.
and you don't know that,
Why
Brianna?
do you lead with that?
Okay. I thought you knew because the whole thing was advertised. She was like, "I want a love triangle where she can get both," and I was like, "Yeah."
No, I definitely missed
But it's
that.
not just like that too, because like really early on into the kind of love triangle that becomes a poly relationship, her like the childhood best friend kind of trope versus like the handsome mysterious guy, and he's like, "Oh my god, he's really handsome," and is she like, "He's bisexual"? I was like, "Yeah!" But it's so good.
Oh my God.
A
I'm
girl
sorry,
like her-
Margaret, we're going
Oh.
off the rails again.
Yes, we are a little bit, but I was just letting you finish. So where do we want to start with this one?
I did. I gave it 4 stars, didn't I?
Okay, never
Can we
mind.
talk about how both covers are pretty?
Look at that.
Both covers are very
think
pretty.
better because she's twisted in a weird way on this one.
Yeah.
Like,
I like this one because I appreciate why they did the cover the way they did on that one, but I like
I like
Um,
that one better too.
I like their
It is
outfits on this
now.
one better. The regular attire.
I went on a whole Twitter rant about
But yeah, but I like
this one and how inaccurate the costuming is
Okay,
on
but
the show.
technically, they made a point to, at
They
least
they
make
did
it-
address it in the book, and it's the
Yeah.
dumbest, most TV reason or entertainment reason ever.
But in the sense of this world,
It is absolutely a decision that would have been made in the entertainment industry.
right.
It also was a really dumb decision.
Well, yeah, but it's
Like,
like
I
knowing
can-
the writers of
Yeah.
the show, they made
Ugh.
so many dumb decisions.
they
Did
did.
like Cupid get pegged?
No, that was just Alex that did that.
Anyways, yeah. So like, I
It was
had
a good time.
Yeah, it was just like it absolutely was a very accurate reason for why they chose that costuming. It also is still a really dumb reason.
Right.
Because, like, the thing about having the next Game of Thrones is you wanted to have the fervor of that in the fandom. You don't want to have it be an exact carbon copy of Game of Thrones.
True.
Like, that never
guess because
worked.
The author definitely had like some
Oh, a
beef
bone
with
to
the last,
pick. It was
like at the last season of Game of Thrones, and I feel like she was writing this book as she was watching the last season of Game of Thrones, and just being like, "Well, fuck you."
it was. I mean, she dragged the guys who did Game of Thrones so badly. I feel like the cast, though, for Game of Thrones had a little bit more leeway to say stuff than this.
You could
cast
just see
did.
it in Amelia
Yeah,
Clark's
no.
eyes whenever she was asked about it. She's like, yeah, that is it. That is the season I filmed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember a specific moment where they're like asking her a question, and she's like, I'm like,
Don't watch.
say anything, but her reaction was, yeah, this is shit.
You could just see in her eyes, like, I really resent everything they put me through. Like,
Oh, because her storyline was had like the dumbest
she
freaking
put so
conclusion.
much
dumb.
into that character for so long. So yeah, I can totally see why like there's that whole thing about like the ending just sucked for the women of the show too, right? Like
The women, the people of color, like yeah.
everyone but Bran really had a bad time.
Yeah. I mean, Bran did have a
Oof.
terrible time at the beginning, but like,
Yeah, but
He
that's
deserved every
that's
second of it.
canon. Like with
Every
the
bad
book.
thing that happened to Bran, he deserved
Yeah.
it. When he gets thrown out that window, that Jamie was trying to do us a favor.
Right.
I don't know if you realize that, but he was trying hard to do us a favor.
Okay, speaking of,
I'd throw that kid out the window too.
Speaking of Jamie and the character that our main man is kind of sort of based off of,
Yeah.
how does y'all feel about, like, I've heard that there's been some discussion about the fact that this feels very fanficky, self-insert, like weird in a way, where it's like the author imagining herself with that particular actor. How do we
I
feel?
never saw that.
I saw the comparison to like Jamie Lannister having a redemption arc and then becoming close with Brienne, who's not conventionally attractive compared to Cersei.
Yeah.
I think there was enough difference in the stories that it never felt like Marcus's character was like truly
Nikolai.
bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and
no,
that,
I could see Nikolai as Marcus's character.
Well,
right?
I definitely was imagining him.
But
Like
the
if this was a
actor doesn't
movie-
have
But I
that
think because
reputation.
I don't know, like at least I don't know a lot about the character that plays Jamie Lannister. So like I couldn't.
So he's
tell
just
that
like
he's
a
the
nice
same as
Danish
Marcus.
guy with a family. He does not have a reputation at all like Marcus had.
Right.
He's
No,
just
he doesn't. And he's very, like, personality-wise, he's much different if you watch his interviews than Marcus presents, because he doesn't have some of the stuff Marcus had to deal with.
he's just a generally
A nice
like
guy.
Scandinavian.
It's just
Yeah.
a cinnamon roll.
I personally was imagining, because like it was for me, it was like listening via audio, so it was kind of hard to tell. Like my mind kept switching between like Richard Madden and like Chris Evans, just based on like career and like things
What
like
they're
that. 'Cause I
talking
was like,
about.
well, I kind of picture, well, like with the hair, I was picturing Richard Madden, but then there were parts where it was like he did this and he was in this, and I was picturing Chris Evans. So I was like kind of going back and forth, but like ultimately for me it was like more Richard Madden than like anybody
Well, I
else,
think-
I guess.
I just
Like,
let myself have the full Sebastian Stan fantasy. I was like, I know this doesn't fit the description or the personality, but this is who's gonna play him in my brain.
I feel
Oh my
like
gosh,
he
yeah.
didn't give you a lot of description of him, though. Like,
But I almost think it's kind of okay, because like let's be
he's
real.
supposed to be he's supposed to be insert your favorite actor.
Let's be real. And she did it in a way where he wasn't a generic like self-insert. He's a really well-developed personality and good character. So I think it's okay if you want to insert your favorite actor into the cast.
Mitchell
Listen.
agrees with you.
See,
Yeah, and
there
that's
we
what I was
go.
thinking when you brought up the whole people talking about it being very self-inserty. Like that's kind of the point
Yeah.
to me.
It's a
of the
romance
story.
novel.
It's supposed, yeah.
Yeah, this book is meant for the fangirl, for the
Mhm.
girl who is passionate about, or the fanboy, the boy who is, you know,
Yeah. But
I
that would,
support
that
for the fat
fangirl being
fangirl
a
because
fully
human, the
genderless
fan.
term.
the one who couldn't imagine themselves on their arm, right? The one that like couldn't
Right.
imagine actually ever being like pursued
Exactly.
by a celebrity.
Exactly. Like that's the whole point of the story, is to kind of bridge that gap and allow you to, have that moment of, getting to have that fantasy that nobody else let you have. Like whether, it was, entirely like self-inserty, I wouldn't say
Mhm.
that I felt that way to me, not knowing anything about Game of Thrones. It did not feel that way. Because
I'm only on like season 3, so and that I think it's actually season 2. Like I went back and I was like, I have no idea where I actually am.
So there's Jamie Lannister in the first few seasons where he's like very handsome and a complete asshole, but except for the time that he threw Bran out a window, which was a good choice. But then there's Jamie Lannister after his hand gets cut off and he gets a metal hand.
We know where Christine's going with that one.
He's hot as fuck.
He's so hot, yeah. And I think that, I could like if you want to write a self-insert fanfic about a hot, older-ish blonde dude, you fucking do it.
Yeah.
You do
Yeah.
Have a good,
Go, Glen Coco.
Mhm.
yeah. And he was a good character. Like,
was.
when was the last time you read a
He was
romance
so
novel
fleshed out
with a
is the
male,
thing.
a
It's like
straight man that's that decent of a human?
Taking
Well, I
it,
just
Danny
love
Brown,
the fact
actor
that,
AJ
like,
Brown.
It had so many walls, so many walls, and I loved how the closer that he got to her, they just all kind of
Yes.
come down
So
one by one, and I
satisfying.
was like, yes, finally we get a man who's not like, you know, emotionally unavailable, but he actually just hasn't found that one person to really be himself with. And I found that very relatable, because like sometimes I feel like I have all these walls up, but then like with other people it's like there's no wall at all, there's not even a fence, but then with him it's all like,
Well, I think they both did.
Yeah.
I think that April definitely like put up walls with it, like based on her past
He was
experience.
so ready to hate him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it was like that one thing that he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go work out. Do you want to come?" And she immediately was like, "Oh,
She found a reason to not give him the benefit of the doubt.
he's just like everyone else."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She was like, do you know that episode of Bob's Burgers where you guys know Bob's Burgers, right?
Yeah.
I know
you
it. I know it exists.
You know when Louise goes to the like Boys for Now concert and she gets a crush on one of the boy band singers and she's like, "Oh, I hate him."
Yes.
It's like, that's kind of it. She's like,
Well,
"Oh,
no,
I just want to slap him."
I don't think it was that, because I don't think it was that. I think that she was just trying to protect herself. That
Right.
she had
Yeah.
this attraction to him, but then she was like, "I can't let myself go down that road because I've been there before."
Yeah. But I think she was also like expecting that he would have this prejudice against her that he never actually had, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, like she put that.
But he also was very unaware. So
Well, and but that's the thing. Like they just
Yeah.
didn't have a conversation about it. But I think it was just like it's been her world and it's never been his world.
He's never had to think about that, where he's
Right.
so intellectually insecure. He thinks about
The
that all the time.
minute, right? But
Yeah.
the minute
Well, see,
that
and
she said something, he completely changed. Like even just the intention, and like not even exactly like what he said, but he would think about, okay, how is she going to respond to this?
Yeah.
It was just so mature.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things is like that just the character and relationship development was so good and it was so healthy. We don't often see a healthy response to what, people go through or how they react. We often see, them just try to move on, move past it and not, try to adjust and say, okay,
Yeah.
this is what bothered her and why I'm going to be more conscious of this. And her being, oh, don't have to be sensitive about this with him because he's not going to do that to me.
I can just
And
tell.
her
And like,
allowing herself to be vulnerable and him allowing himself to be conscious of that vulnerability so that he can show her affection in a way that she deserves. Like both of those things, you don't see stuff like that very often IRL. So like getting to read it, I was just like, my soul.
Or see someone who like knows they messed up and like takes the initiative to be humble and go like,
right.
Hey, listen, I know you're mad at me. I know I did something.
What did I do?
Tell me.
Exactly. And it
Let me
wasn't
make it right.
it wasn't like he ever degraded her hurt. Like
no, never.
Like
Well,
even though he was
was-
like, I would never do that to you, he
But I can
never,
understand why you
left
won't
the
trust him.
side,
Yeah.
and that's something that is very rare.
Right.
And so I was over here just like, Marcus is the best ever.
Well, yeah, and like
Marcus
it really
is goals.
right. It really showed a growth in him, like
Yeah.
being able to understand her, because the first car ride that they had where she was being very silent because it was after he was saying, I'm going to go work out. Do you want to come? And so like he didn't understand why she was being silent. But then in that car ride back from her parents where she was being very silent and he was like, what did I do?
Yeah.
He figured it out and he he learned her and her
Mhm.
responses and how she,
I really appreciate the fact that these were older characters. You don't see
Yeah.
that a lot
Yeah.
in romance. He was 40 and she was what, 36?
He was
I don't know why
39.
that made him so much hotter to me. I have such a problem. I was like, okay.
And I enjoyed that because like there's always this expectation, this societal expectation that you're going to get married in your early to mid 20s.
Who
Yeah.
does that?
You
But,
don't
like, she was
see
such a
late
badass
20s,
professor.
No
30s,
idea.
like you don't see characters
It was 50%.
at an older age. And if you do see older characters, they've usually been divorced or they've been
Well, I think
widowed
that would
or something like that. And that's not everybody. Not everybody is in that boat. We don't always see that. This
where millennials had a lot or that they felt like millennials had a lot to do with that. Like if you were talking about a 33-year-old woman back in the 1950s or 60s, might have been a different story. But speaking about the car conversation,
wait, speak for yourself.
Feel
Brie and I are not millennials.
What?
Brie and I, we are not millennials. Don't lump us into your
Brie's a
weird
millennial.
Gen fucking Z.
I'm talking about these characters.
You said we are millennials, and I said I am not a millennial. Don't tell me that I am.
it depends on what you
You're
look
better
at.
off than not being
It
one.
depends on what resource you look at too. It's very weird. It's like some group 97 with millennials and some don't.
Brie Bear McKay.
Yeah.
You can either be the last of the millennials or the leaders of Gen Z. What do you want? Do you want to belong to the generation of people that use K-pop to protest Trump rallies, or do you want to belong to the same generation as Alex? Come on,
Hi.
Alex. What have you infiltrated with TikTok?
Okay, anyways, so going back, how did we feel about like I have a feeling we're all gonna kind of be on the same page with this, but like him not telling her his secret identity as Bond. How did we
I
feel
totally
about
understood it.
I understood it.
Yeah.
I understood, but also like I feel like he kept making it worse for himself by putting it off. Like
Yeah.
I understood, early on, I get that.
Yeah.
But once you know that you can trust somebody, maybe,
I feel like
I think even
Or
then, like his reasoning for not doing it made sense.
Right.
Was it the decision that maybe you would have made? No, but the decision made sense. Which
Also, we have to
that's
think about the
important.
fact that when she got mad at him the first time, she did go online and like kind of rant about it in a like she didn't meme him,
Sure.
but she did go on. And I like she got when she got mad at him, she gave him the silent treatment and then talked about it online. So I can understand him being like, I can't do this yet.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I totally understand why he didn't tell her. I do think that in the kitchen, that kitchen scene, that should have been one of the conversations that he had
Before they had
Like,
sex, I agree that he
before they had sex. I think that definitely that was the point where it needed to have been brought up. However, the plot would have been a very different plot if we had done that.
Okay, let
But
me just
then that's what I
channel
mean.
it. Let me
What,
channel
like,
it.
is it the best decision? No. But it made sense, which is
Yeah,
the
no.
important part of a third act breakup in a romance.
Yeah.
Like,
And it was a good
it's
third
a
act.
it's a logical conclusion that he came to.
Mhm.
It's not completely out of left field where you're like, why are you being dumb and not talking to her? Like a lot of romances are. Like this is probably the best done miscommunication trope that I've
Mhm.
ever read, and I hate miscommunication tropes.
Yeah.
You ready?
Ready.
Hey, April. Have you ever wanted to have sex with me and your online best friend at the
Yeah.
same time? Because you can. 2 guys, 1 dick.
And you killed it.
Hire me next time.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I think he waited way too long to tell her because I absolutely don't think he should have come out with it the minute he found out she was an unapologetic Lavinia stan. I think after a couple of meetings with what he already knows about her as a person, that was the time. Like second or third date would have been appropriate, but like not the first.
I just get it also though, because she definitely, and like this is me coming as also a bitch when I'm angry. She was kind of uncommunicative when she was angry. So
it kind of like, even though she vaguely did it, she did rant about it online.
Yeah.
So if it was something even bigger, the fact that he's hiding something, like
right,
it makes sense that he could have thought, okay, yes, I don't think she would do this, or I wouldn't imagine her doing it, but it is in the realm of possibility that she would.
And he does not have a good history of people being fair to
No,
him.
like I absolutely understand a lot of what he was going through and why he reacted. Like she definitely,
especially with
it was trauma.
the way that Alex did get kind of excommunicated.
Yeah. And I like that we saw that.
Yeah.
Well, and I definitely like that she realized. I like that it ended up with her realizing that she was too harsh and her kind of making. I didn't want him to go be like,
oh yeah, no,
I'm sorry, I was garbage. I like that they came to a more mutual place of like, we both had issues and let's resolve them together because we are hot.
I absolutely overreacted to that, like 100%. Like, not often did I say that.
Came to that conclusion, which I think was like, even without him trying to explain his side of the story, or even like friends trying to explain it, like she came to the conclusion on her own, which I think was really mature.
I like Alex.
Speaking of Alex and kind of that ending, one of the things I wanted to like kind of bring up is
I'd peg him.
It was interesting to me that all of the actors disliked Ron and RJ. And they never realized that if they had all come out at almost all, excluding Ian and his smelly tuna fish.
Yeah, that was funny.
If they had all like gone together to be like, hey, yeah, this is actually like we don't our showrunners are there would have been very little that the showrunners and the show would have been able to do because
you can't sue them all at once.
Well, not just that.
They could have. I mean, otherwise, wouldn't Game of Thrones done the same thing?
Yeah, they could have, but it would have made them look really, really bad in the public eye. Like they would have had.
I think by the end of Game of Thrones,
the thing is, though, is that in the industry, it would be such an issue for them as actors. It would become a red flag because as the people on the back end of it, whether you're doing it right by the books or not, you have a contract and you have an expectation of the people you employ, and for them, on the back end of it, that would still screw them over in their ability to be able to be hired.
Other producers wouldn't want to work with them in the future because they're like, well, if they sued those writers because they didn't like what they were doing, what will they do to us?
And I actually think Game of Thrones cast being quiet about it was the right choice because the last season spoke for itself. None of them pretended they loved it. Like I don't think there's a single actor that was like, what are you talking about? That was our best season yet.
Because like if you look on YouTube, you've seen a lot of compilations of like interviews and the way that they all like serially, like you can see like either a twinge in the eye or like one of them looks away because they're just like they know and they're like cringing at what happens.
But they couldn't really do anything else.
And I think I'm looking forward to hopefully in the next book. I really want to see Ron and RJ do a self-destruct to the level that D&D from Game of Thrones did in that panel that just got their entire career canceled. What I am saying is that we've seen a lot, especially recently, about actors coming out to say, hey, this person is abusive, and it hasn't been the end of their career. Like Ricky Whittle got his biggest role after calling out The 100. Like
Who the fuck is Ricky Whittle?
He played one of the characters on The 100, and when he left the show, he didn't get into a lot of detail, but he did say that the main showrunner, the one I have a problem with, was very racist and had been bullying him. But he found a network at least, or he found showrunners that supported him through that. So like, it's one of those things that like, they definitely, especially like not.
What big role did he get?
Not before he's Shadow Moon from American Gods.
I haven't seen it.
Anyways,
I don't think that's on the same level as like Emilia Clarke coming out and saying that.
No, I get what you're saying. Like it's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, but I think after Alex doing what Alex did, it would have been a way to mitigate the consequences for one person if the rest of them had backed him up.
Well, and I
feel like Alex was entirely reckless.
Well, no, I don't think so either.
Because I think, like, the way that it ends, it basically ends at the con. There's an epilogue, sure, but it doesn't really go into the details of, like, what happened after the show. for anyone else. And so I'm really excited to see what
happens with Alex.
His thing. I think he had some impulse control stuff, which is very fair. Like, that's very fair. He had that, but he was never acting poorly. He just wasn't acting strategically.
Yeah, and I think that, honestly, it's a very human thing. You can't have all characters be perfect. So that's a very human thing. A lot of people, when they see someone they care about get attacked like that, they're gonna be reckless because
for sure.
I would never
people would protect another person they care about more than they would defend themselves.
And I think too, like, you can't fault someone for jumping to support their ethics, even if it's maybe not the best
career move.
Like the least, like, he could have done more, like he could have taken less collateral damage, but like he jumped to defend his ethics, and I think that I don't know if that makes him reckless. I think that just
let the show come out, give him a year, couple months, and then they can do what they want.
I think it makes him kind of Captain America-y, where it's like, well, maybe if you'd had a plan and not solo charge Thanos, this could have gone better. But I commend you for the effort. You know what I mean? He didn't take the Iron Man Doctor Strange route. He took the Cap Squad route of Infinity War.
We appreciate your effort, but not your planning.
You three American Army veterans, you're gonna solo charge Thanos in succession.
Instead of working together.
Nice.
So let's see. Is there anything else we wanted to discuss? How do we feel about April and how April and Marcus's baggage was kind of handled?
I love that it showed two sides of the equation where April had to lay boundaries, and unfortunately she really did have to kind of cut her parents off when they wouldn't stick to them. But Marcus was able to lay those boundaries, and they were able to start working towards a healthier. I like that there was both sides of it.
Yes.
It's not
but I think it was very raw and emotional, especially the scene with April and her mom.
Yeah.
If only I had the balls to actually do that.
Yeah. I think that I don't think that they spent enough time on April's stuff though, because I feel that you see that more from the 70% mark on versus Marcus, whereas his was from the very beginning to that percentage mark. And I feel like we could have had some bits kind of thrown in, and then not just a paragraph of what happened afterward. I wish we would have been able to actually see his parents actually apologize and a dialogue with that, and to see how the relationship changed over time. Because,
that's one of my things I would have changed. I would have
his parents did such a number on him. He was lonely and emotionally scarred. So I just feel like she spent a lot of time building up his backstory, but not enough time fleshing out the end of it.
I can see that, where we kind of switched which parents we were mad at halfway through the book.
A little more than halfway. I think we saw hints of it, and you knew. I feel with April's, you knew this confrontation had to be coming just because of small.
I mean, doesn't the first page, chapter 1, she's on the phone with her mom about. Or not, I guess it's not chapter. I guess
it's her. He's the first chapter.
But
she definitely deals with her mom in the second when she's introduced.
Right, when she's talking about which dress to wear, and I didn't see an issue with the pacing of those subplots.
I would have liked more with his parents, but I do think that at least hers, I think that she built it in a way that is realistic to how it would have played out in real life.
It would have been nice to see him. It would have almost been nice for them to kind of the inverse, where they probably really like her, right? Because they're probably oh, she has a PhD, she's right, she didn't she, or a master's at least, pretty educated, and then be oh, she's such an intellectual, how do you guys communicate? And her being what do you, he's one of the smartest people I know, because he is, right? He's brilliant, he's not a dummy at all. And I think it would have been nice to have her be no, like I don't feel like I'm smarter than him. I don't feel like
Yeah,
I can.
and
It would have been nice to have a scene because you had a scene with her parents. It would have been
Yeah.
interesting.
they kind of
to have a-
hinted at that in like in the paragraph where they talked about some of this stuff, like they go and see them, and like with April there, they
Yeah.
like
Which but it's the fact
sort of
that it was
help
a paragraph
her.
and that it wasn't more.
yeah, that's what I was
there.
gonna say. It was just like
It could
a
have been
They
a
spent
good
so
scene.
long
uh,
setting up that part.
yeah, it was just like narrative instead of being
Yeah.
like a scene with
That's
dialogue.
just how I personally feel reading.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was.
One day.
I wonder if it was, and she cut it because she thought maybe it was a little bit too repetitive from like it was too similar to her parents.
But I just would have liked that as like I feel like, like her being just as educated by them and being like, yep, no, I see him as my peer completely would have been.
Absolutely.
And like, I don't know. But, and then also I feel like because like, let's say they have a kid, that kid is pretty likely to be neurodiverse too. So it's just like, we're not going to like kind of be like, I could not leave you with my kids if I thought you were going to make fun of the way they think, make fun of like I need you to know that to continue being a good parent to me, you can't equate like academics with intelligence.
Right.
Like you can't. And yeah.
Yes, preach this.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
As an academic, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, he's not less smart because he has dyslexia. Like, you need they needed to learn that, not just like, oh, our son is talented in other ways. Like, no, he's just as brilliant. Like, dumb people can't act well.
So, having just come off the Heart Principle and the way they did the epilogue for that one, I think this would have done much better if Olivia Dade had kind of like given us scenes instead of just all of that narrative.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff that she mentions in the epilogue could have been direct aftermath of the con. What happened at the con. And then some of that stuff could have been saved for that narrative epilogue. Or
you could have even done like a few months down the road scene where they're getting together and going to said dinner at parents, and then you can recap some of the things within that, revealing it through conversation or internal monologue, either one.
Yeah.
Or not internal monologue. This isn't their person, but you know what I mean.
You didn't enjoy that we got Red Riding Hood and the Wolf instead?
That was so weird.
I feel like I know it's a romance novel, but I feel like when you with a few exceptions, when you end on a sex scene, like that's
a choice.
Wasted time with characters. For the very end, like that's just kind of a waste of your time. With you could have done something different.
I agree. I
would have liked to see.
Well, we're gonna get to see them again, right? We'll definitely see them.
Yeah, definitely.
And I hope we get a snippet of his interview with what's her face.
Yeah.
I wish we had that at the end.
That was so cool.
So
that would have been nice.
I also think it's the biggest power move in the world that he made a movie about the same character and was like, I'm gonna make it better.
Yes, I love that.
Wow.
That was I love that was so funny.
I have to say though, that legally speaking, getting the rights to do that.
Well, it's public domain because Virgil. Yeah. It's public domain.
Okay.
And he also he was hired on. It was like he's not the producer.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was hired on to do the acting and the directing.
Right.
But he wasn't the one for what?
He did the writing. He wrote it.
I didn't think so. Like
did he write it?
I don't remember.
I think he definitely had some.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But so he wasn't. So the author's books were a recreation of the Aeneid by Virgil, which is like an ancient Roman text, and his movie was also an adaptation of the Aeneid, not of her books. So it's public domain because it's from 100 AD.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah. So you and I could put on a movie of the Aeneid tomorrow, and then they could put on the same and there's no. It's like doing.
He was going from the. I thought he was going from the other one. So
we saw all those Sparta stuff.
I'm on your page.
Exactly. Yeah, like you can't. There's no copyright in that shit because it's just ancient. Although I would have loved it if maybe we could stop Cinderella movies. Amazon, maybe you should just leave it where Disney has it. I think maybe Amazon that maybe you could.
Christina.
I know it's pretty old.
You're on a preach and roll over here today.
I feel like if you're not going to do something as if you're just going to do the regular, like do as many retellings as you want, but like make it interesting and different.
Well, especially because like
Give us Ever After again. Give us the new Ever After, which was way different.
So different. Like, isn't this what the third Cinderella live action film within the last like 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
And the thing is that like, okay, so the Lily James Richard Madden one was really good because Disney really put everything they had into it. Cinderella story with Hilary Duff, you're not going to get better than that, so don't even try.
That's different.
There's a Christmas story, but it's like Cinderella. There's a bunch of those. There are a bunch of like knockoff Lifetime.
But if you're going
Cinderella
to do
stories.
the exact,
I feel you. I feel you, Michelle. I had to think for a second. I was like what? And I was like, oh,
yeah.
There's too many Lifetime Christmas movies as it is.
Right.
Okay, Brianna, what are you trying to say?
No, I was gonna say if you're gonna do the original like Cinderella, like from Disney, and you're gonna adapt that, there's too many of those.
Yeah.
Like a Cinderella story, and even though there's like 3 Cinderella stories, all 3 of those are a little different.
Yep. Can't have the talking mice unless you're Disney.
Well, but this one did.
Yikes.
I know.
James
That's
Corden.
why I
didn't watch.
Why does he?
I am convinced.
I want to watch it for
James
it to
Corden
not
is
at some
hiding.
point.
James Corden is like keeping some deep dark secret.
Can we
It's
just?
the only way he keeps getting these roles.
The worst thing that ever happened to me, well, one of them, was when I got really high and went to see Cats. There's this scene where James Corden is just like, and it looks like he's like trying to eat you out as a viewer. And it's just like, you're just like, oh, should I kill myself? I should. Like,
life is not worth living.
Yeah, now that I've seen this, I was assaulted by watching this movie. That and Taylor Swift's cat boobs. But Taylor Swift cats and Jason
Tell me when it's
Derulo's
over.
Jason Derulo's little cat routine. It's like, why are you all kind of? I don't want to fuck a cat.
I have a general rule that I just will not see anything that James Corden is in.
That's
probably a good idea.
I liked Into the Woods, but
yeah, but not his part.
Yeah, I can't say his part is what stood out to me. No.
The
Actually, I
problem
don't know that I've actually seen the music. I think I've seen the musical segments of it, but I don't think I like on YouTube. But I don't think I've seen Into the Woods.
The problem with Into the Woods on screen is they cut several key elements that make Act 2 make sense and have impact. And so the film is completely different.
Then I definitely have not seen the film because I would have noticed that.
Yeah, like they completely cut out the baker's father, and like that is such an integral part to the baker's growth. Like you can't have him have.
They cut out a whole princess too. There's another princess in the.
Oh yeah, because they had the 2 other. You have Agony version 2, and you have the 2 other princesses because they decided to go cheat on their wives.
They cut out Agony.
Not the first one, but number 2, because there's 2. There's Agony and Agony the Reprise in the original musical.
Agony was my favorite.
It's the best part of the movie. It's the best part of
the movie.
The very first time that I saw that play was at a college theater that was like known for theater. So they were very good. And the 2 princes were played by brothers that I knew. And it was just so perfect. And so nothing else can stand up to that one.
That's really funny. I have seen not in person, but what introduced me to it was the original like production. There was a video recording of it. It's got Bernadette Peters in it. It is really, really good. You lose so much when you don't have the wolf and the prince being the same actor.
Oh, 100%.
Like all of that. Like when you don't have those double roles. the narrator and the baker's father being the same character.
Yeah.
But like Bernadette Peters makes that show, and I don't understand why they cast Meryl Streep when Bernadette is still alive.
It's true.
I mean,
Meryl
Meryl Streep didn't do a terrible job.
She didn't do a terrible job, but she was not Bernadette Peters. She was not even Vanessa Williams.
I just think that I think of all the casting choices that were a mistake for that movie. I'm not going to attack Meryl Streep.
No, she acted the part, but like the witch's part, one of the things about the witch's part that makes it the witch's part is the singing. The Last Midnight, she is supposed to be a dramatic fucking soprano.
Right, but but Johnny Depp's right there. You can come for Johnny Depp, so like.
What?
See, I did a good job being really smarmy.
I have no qualms against Johnny Depp.
I don't have any qualms against him. I just didn't like him in that movie.
Yeah.
I just
like, especially now that we've learned that he's not a terrible human being.
Oh yeah, no, I just didn't like him in that movie. I felt like he didn't actually bring anything to that role, like in terms of it just felt like a combination of all his other roles.
But it's also Wolf, and he's not the he's not the most important. Like, he needs to be there for Red, but he doesn't have to be. If he's not also going to be the prince, he doesn't have to be. Like, it doesn't matter who plays him. Like, he's not important.
Yeah, I just didn't like. I found that scene really awkward compared to some of the other ones.
That's because the scene is really awkward if it's not double cast.
Yeah.
That's because the scene really is really awkward when you have a child playing that role instead of a grown woman.
Well, that's
No, but not even that. I just didn't feel like I just felt like he was trying to be funny, like too funny when he should have been trying to be like act like creepier. And I was like, you can be creepy. Like you got your start being creepy.
The wolf is supposed to be super campy. Like that whole movie, they took it too seriously. And that is not a play you can take seriously. I'm sorry we have gotten so off track. Do we have anything else we want to talk about in the book? Anything that we have not covered?
It was amazing. And if you haven't read it, you should
read it.
I think the word possessively was used too much.
Interesting. I honestly did not notice that.
Then whenever I end up rereading this, I'm gonna
keep an eye out for that.
I'll keep a count on it.
If
I get around to reading this at some point.
Here's the thing is when you read All the Feels, which I would like to add is not the title that is in the back of the book. I think in the back of the book, the title is Slow Burn. When you read All the Feels, look for the new Possessively.
Yeah.
Oh,
also, I guess that doesn't bug, like, words like that, unless it's like she let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. Okay. It doesn't like stand out to me, I guess.
Okay, Michelle, what were you gonna say?
Okay, so he references multiple times that she smells like roses, and I have rose smelling shampoo, and I showered today, so whenever I saw that, I was just like,
you're like,
oh, he is smelling me.
That's funny.
It was a good time.
That's funny. I don't feel like roses themselves have a smell, but like I have a tea that's supposed to be raspberry rose, and like you stick your nose, you can smell the roses.
Right.
Like, oh, that's how roses are supposed to smell.
I really appreciate the fact
like
that
interest, personally.
And I know we've kind of already talked about this, but I really appreciate the fact that Marcus really felt relatable and real to the like. It could be just like because I read a lot of romance, and so there's a lot of times where the love interest is supposed to be this like perfect person because sometimes authors tend to do a self-insert, and so then they just put in like their dream guy into it, and so like this felt like a real person.
I think that's the thing is they're both flawed and everything, but their relationship is healthy and good.
Because they will fight.
Safe place.
They'll have arguments or disagreements or they don't understand each other, and so then they have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like becoming a angsty teenager.
Yeah, and like
for some reason, all new adult romances do.
Even when they had the breakup, like they still worked through it after they processed, they thought through it, you know, and I think we also saw that growth of, at first, you know, she really was resistant to, you know, trying to think about it again, trying to think about him again, or consider going out with him again. But then when, in the end, when she allowed herself to actually consider, oh, he wasn't trying to be a jerk.
Right. But then she like immediately acted on it. Like as soon as she was like, oh shit, I was wrong. But and then the scene after they break up, and then like he's like kind of unpacking back in his own house, and just like the pining after her and being like, I'm gonna put this rock up in the corner of the closet so I don't see it. And I'm just like, can I hug you?
I know, my heart. I was just like, you poor thing. You were trying so hard and you still screwed it up.
The scene at the planetarium or the museum was just absolutely the most adorable thing ever.
Yes.
Because he was like fully
allowing
like,
people
you're a
to talk
nerd.
about their own interests too.
Yeah.
Like he was genuinely interested in listening to her share about what she cares about, and she would genuinely be interested in listen. Like when he would talk about his interests, I like.
And she would read the script. When she was reading
the crew of the show, I was like, oh, he's a good bean, because a lot of actors forget to do that.
Yeah.
And I have been crew, and I will still forget, or I would still forget, like if there were not actors to do the when we're at the end of the show. Yeah. Because you do the orchestra and you do the light crew to signify.
I really liked, speaking of the aquarium scene, I really liked how he was like explained that he just needed to take extra time with his science, and she was like, no, I would like not get ever be that. And there was, I thought that scene was like so affirming, and like,
yes.
And then also in the back of his mind, he was like, can we make out in the planetarium?
I couldn't read more.
Yeah. He's like, maybe it won't be too crowded in the dark room.
I also really like though that how they really made the distinction between him, because so often with celebrity novels, it's like they don't want to ruin their reputation or their image. For him, it was like, I don't want to damage my ability to do my craft. Like he doesn't actually give a shit. Right. Like it was such a distinction between the integrity of his art and his fame, which I think sometimes it makes it hard to it makes it hard for a celebrity to be super likable when it's like, okay, so you lose a few followers, but you're like happier with a person. Like, what's the choice here? But for him, it was like
I legitimately would not have a career.
Yeah, and like
I love anymore if I screw this up in this way.
Yeah. And
I think that's also
really loved his job.
Something we get because he is almost 40. Like I think we get a very different Marcus if we were like 29 instead of 39.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you couldn't fall back on just being a young hot guy anymore as much, right? It's the perfect time for him to get cast as like a mid-tier Avenger.
So he's the Paul Rudd of the Avengers.
Or like the Hawkeye, or I think book 2. I think maybe that's what we'll cast Alexander for, like his like book 2. He gets like the hero Avengers. I don't know, and like it's
can we just side note, in the new Hawkeye trailer, Hawkeye's wearing a hearing aid.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Nice. I'm glad they finally
I don't know if it's a hearing aid or a cochlear implant, but he is definitely hearing impaired.
I wonder if they're going to say
like watch. I can tell you, because a cochlear implant, you're going to see. It's
I just read something about it. I actually haven't slowed down the trailer to the point of watching it.
It's probably a hearing aid, because if it was a cochlear implant, you would have noticed it.
Yeah.
And it would be
I haven't watched it yet, so I know absolutely no details.
Yeah.
I just was reading an article.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
We had a family that because mom was an interpreter, so the entire family was able to sign, and they ended up adopting a little boy who was deaf.
Oh, cool.
And he did end up with a cochlear implant.
You know what? We should all adopt within our skill set, and I should adopt a child who is golden retriever exclusive.
No, Christine, that's just adopting a child and then teaching them to be golden retriever exclusive.
Are you kidding? I don't want to have to do that work. I want them to come to me with taste.
That's the best part of a child is you get to teach them what taste is. Sometimes you're not right about it, but you get to.
What are you suggesting?
As long
I'm not
as long as
suggesting
you
it's
also
about you.
teach
I am
them.
talking about my own parents.
First Christmas we've had together.
Sorry.
What's going on? As
I'm
long
trying
as
to
you
find
don't
the
teach them
thing.
that doodles are awful. Like,
What?
people
I
are
will teach them that the doodle industry is often awful,
often,
Like
but
hearing
not
aids.
always.
but not always. Yeah.
What? What's
Doodle
wrong?
like the okay, so like the existence of cross dogs is not in itself awful. The trend of mixing a poodle with anything to sell it to unsuspecting pet owners is awful unless you have a purpose for it.
Well, but yes, but see, the
Yeah.
problem
Oh,
is
that's what you were talking about. I thought you meant like art doodles.
Oh,
I was
no.
Yeah,
fight.
the doodling industry is the worst.
no. I
Well,
just
that's
like
how I make money. So
I was
like,
in an
hold
argument
there,
on
bucko.
Facebook, and I'm just like, it kept getting like I kept feeling like I was trying to do a not all men argument, but like
Mhm.
not all doodles, and it made me feel weird.
But it's
Okay,
true though, right? Like
so-
there's been a lot of great, like the first doodle ever was trained to be a guide dog, and they're not inherently. It's just
Yeah,
that
like
they-
there are certain
that there's a
certain
lot of
things
people
that
that
you
have
need a
hated it.
hypoallergenic dog for.
yeah.
People have just backyard breeders have just painted it, but it made me so mad today.
No, you're absolutely right. There needs to be a purpose behind making your class
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly. And you shouldn't
Um,
doodle everything but it's the same with any two dogs. You shouldn't mix. You have to be smart about the dogs that you're mixing
Yeah.
to get a certain outcome.
like a
And-
golden husky, terrible idea.
Like a golden husky, yeah, but like you've seen like Aussie doodles are a big thing right now, Australian shepherds and poodles, and it's a terrible idea. Like that dog is going to be insane forever.
That dog is probably going to take over the world, honestly.
We shouldn't allow it to happen. And then they'll be like a mini golden doodle. I'm like, so why wouldn't you get like a cockapoo or like a
Yeah.
or like a small, right? They're like a mini golden doodle. I'm like, but neither poodles nor like goldens aren't mini though. And they're like a mini gold. I'm like, no.
Oh, you know what's really big now is the mini Saint Bernoodles. And I'm like,
Why would you take a Saint
A
Bernard and
what?
make it into anything Saint
it's a
Bernard?
Saint Bernard and a mini poodle.
No,
Anyways,
The poor mother probably died,
no.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
help the dad.
that's what I'm saying. Like you can't, but like that's just for aesthetics because there's no actual good reason to miniaturize a Saint Bernard.
If you
They're
can't
big
handle
for-
a regular Saint Bernard, don't get a little one.
Yeah,
But
little dogs are harder than big dogs.
Anyways,
It's
sorry.
just
I
that-
was
Anyways.
so mad today.
so from what I understand from the people that I follow that and this is just me talking about what I have seen and what I have read, cochlear implants, yes, they are technically not that useful because for number one, you do have to be taught how to use them and figure out, and they're not like sometimes I know people that's like it's just easier to turn it off.
It
Um,
depends.
It,
As
and
a
it
person who
depends
works
on
with deaf, who has worked with many deaf people, I have deaf kids at my school. It really depends. The two girls that we have right now who are deaf, they do have cochlear, but I think it really just depends on your level of deafness.
yeah.
Is the main thing because
And I also think
they
it's a major
work better for
Yeah.
people who are mostly or almost entirely deaf,
Profound.
really.
Yeah.
Then a hearing aid is not going to be able to do
to help you.
Well, I
anything
think
for
for
them.
For
So
Hawkeye, too, the explanation will probably be that there was an injury that caused hearing loss, right? That, like, there was,
That's
no
why
yeah,
I
but
believe
it definitely
hearing
is
aids
hearing
make a
aids.
difference.
I checked the trailer and it's definitely a hearing aid.
Yeah.
There's no
Okay.
I knew it was it couldn't be a cochlear because I know.
and
what
let's
those
be real, that's kind of realistic. How are all of them made it through this many battles without hearing loss? Is my
Oh, Steve definitely should have hearing loss because he went through World War II. And
maybe he did. Maybe he did the whole time, and that's why he just like wouldn't listen.
ah,
I literally couldn't hear you.
No, I think it's
Bucky's
because
like,
the person
"No,
that kept
please
asking
don't."
when to listen was Tony, and no one wants to listen to Tony
No, but
anyways.
Bucky's like, no, but please stay here. Like, please, for the love of God. And Sam's like, I could come with you. Like, I could help. And he's like, just can't hear it. He's just not listening.
What are you saying?
He's like, it was always like this. Like, you shouldn't go back alone. This is a lot. Like,
Maybe
you should make
Steve
different
was
choices.
just better at reading lips.
Maybe. I like the thought that Steve
Maybe
is
whatever is in the
listening to
serum
people.
protected his hearing.
Mhm.
Like maybe his
Right.
eyesight's just really good. Well, I mean, you also have to think he is like a super soldier, so
Yeah. But like, I mean, like, how many times too has like something blown up in Bucky's face or Natasha's face? Like, how many times have they got like hit on the? They probably have they probably all have hearing loss.
They
Except
probably all have hearing. Yeah, they probably have all been Katnissed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so, where is my phone? There it is. Okay,
Right
so
here.
I'm gonna wind this down because it is 9:46 and I would like to go to bed on
I
time.
need to go
today.
pack.
Bedtime.
This is
pack.
the final round of Vaultathon for the year. We will be reconvening next year in March. I am 90% sure I know what the movie is, but it's still up in the air before we get there. So I'm not going to announce that, but I will be announcing the new Vaultathon dates. Look for that in January. So does anyone have anything on their channel they want to plug? I finally will have my Chain of Iron vlog coming out tomorrow.
But will you have your August wrap up?
That's coming out Wednesday because I just filmed it today. That's why I still have makeup. I literally was like, oh, I can't film until later because we have the live show and I should probably still have my makeup on.
My Iron Widow reading vlog is coming out tomorrow.
That's
Okay,
exciting.
cool.
Indigathon announcement on October 1st.
Woo!
Mark your calendars. It's gonna be very casual this year.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I
But
mean,
we
you
still
guys have
want
come up
people
with
to
some
give
good
a shit.
prompts.
Like,
No, I don't blame you after last year. So,
no, I just want to punch a bunch of people in the face. That's all.
yeah.
I support that.
I can come help.
Honestly.
I have my Vaultathon vlog probably Tuesday
Okay.
and a couple recent reads videos.
Nice.
For books that I have like a giant stack of books that I need to be able to put in their proper place on my shelf. So I therefore need to film those videos so I can move those books.
Fair enough.
I have a gigantic, I need to be able to put all of these books away, but I haven't edited my last haul, so I can't film a new haul until I have done so.
Yeah.
The haul is from March. So I am going to have a massive haul.
And there's all the
my-
books you bought in Orlando. So
Right.
Yeah.
My Vaultathon vlog is scheduled to go up on Thursday, depending on if I can get it edited while also working in Miami this week.
Nice.
But I also have a video on Tuesday coming up for books that give you fall vibes.
Nice.
Mhm.
I wouldn't know what fall vibes feel like. I live in Florida, but I'm going to watch
you
the
should come
video
here
and
right
pretend
now.
like I do.
You're gonna pretend.
Margaret, you need to experience Canadian fall. It's a whole other thing. It's like
Utah fall is
I'm
beautiful.
planning, I guess, on just moving to Canada until I have to do health insurance next year. So yeah, sure.
South Dakota fall is great.
yeah, I
Yeah.
bet because we're probably about the same out like northernness. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Tennessee fall is really good. Tennessee has every single season.
So does Utah.
So does Ontario.
I feel like
We get
Tennessee and
every-
and I feel
Y'all
like
really
we're
do.
probably at the same latitude.
yeah.
So the only difference is that our winter lasts half the year, and then the other half gets to split the other 3 seasons.
Oh yeah, no, that sucks. That sucks.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you to everyone who ended up joining us this round. I am so happy. It's 8 rounds. We've been having lots of fun. So look forward to rounds 9, 10, and 11 next year. And I may have some more free time. So we may be doing some bigger stuff next year, possibly. We'll see.
A whole
Um,
year-long Hercules read.
I don't think even I could do that. And you know how into Greek myths I am.
We
So
we already have a year-long readathon.
I've already done one of those. I don't know that I want to do something like that again. But so thank you so much for watching. If you are watching this next or back around the time, what question should they answer in the comments if they're watching this after?
Who was the the bunny child in Robin Hood that most deserved to get fed to my dogs.
Oh my God, Christine.
None of them.
Horrible.
Okay,
I'm
let's.
thinking it's the young one that got lost in the castle and Robin Hood had to go back for her.
That was Bree. That's
That's
your
Bree.
story.
What did you mean, breathe at your dog?
Sorry, you fucked up during the mission and it should I'm just sorry.
Well
That
done,
kid was
dog.
more expendable.
I had to
than
go back
Robin.
to your book, okay?
We count that one. We're gonna
Robin
say
Hood won an archery competition on stilts, and you think that little rabbit who will die in 2 years anyway of natural causes is worth more? Okay. Leave it there. That mother takes
answer
17
that
more weeks.
question. I'm going to say, if you could choose a movie for Vaultathon, what movie would you choose?
If you don't fucking say Hercules, I'll fuck you up. Or Tarzan.
Wow.
If you are not feeling chatty, leave me a mouse emoji if you just want to let me know that you've been here. So that is it for now, my friends. I will see you later.
Why
We
not
will
leave
talk-
a fox emoji?
Yeah.
Because Disney. And I already said fox emoji.
Fox.
I already said fox emoji for a video. We can't do it twice in a row, Christine. All right.
Yes, you can do anything in a row.
That's
You
not the
can do
rule.
whatever you want.
There's no rule.
Bye.